Thank you very much.
Every NFL team's best draft pick. From 6th round steals to first overall busts, we're breaking down the greatest draft pick in franchise history for all 32 NFL teams. Some of these picks will absolutely shock you. When it comes to building a championship team, the draft is everything. It's where dynasties are born and where front offices make their mark on history. Today, we're going through all 32 NFL franchises in alphabetical order to crown each team's greatest draft pick of all time. Let's get into it. Arizona Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald, 3rd overall in 2004. The Cardinals selected one of the most complete receivers ever in 3rd overall pick, Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald played 17 seasons entirely in Arizona, racking up 1,432 receptions, 17,492 yards, and 1 Super Bowl appearance. His consistency and durability made him a future Hall of Famer and the greatest Cardinal of all time. Atlanta Falcons, Deion Sanders, 5th overall in 1989. Deion Sanders was prime time, one of the most electrifying defensive backs ever to play the game. Falcons got an 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and future Hall of Famer who revolutionized the cornerback position with his coverage skills and return abilities. Sanders won a Super Bowl and brought swagger and confidence to Atlanta's defense while becoming a cultural icon in the NFL. Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis, 1st round, 26th overall in 1996. Ray Lewis arrived in Baltimore and became the quarterback of the defense immediately. He was a 13-time Pro Bowler, 10-time All-Pro, and Super Bowl 35 champion, and Super Bowl MVP, who led the Ravens to one of the greatest defensive performances ever. Lewis is a Hall of Famer and the greatest linebacker in franchise history. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, 7th overall, 2018. Josh Allen dropped in the draft due to accuracy concerns, but Buffalo saw the raw talent and athleticism underneath. Allen has become an MVP candidate, leading the Bills to 4 straight AFC East titles and consistent playoff appearances. He's already a franchise legend in his prime. Carolina Panthers, Luke Kuechly, 9th overall, 2012. Luke Kuechly was the ultimate versatile linebacker who could cover receivers, rush the passer, and read plays perfectly. The Panthers got 7 elite seasons before injuries forced early retirement at age 28. Kuechly won the 2013 Defensive Player of the Year award and was named All-Pro 5 times in just 7 seasons. Chicago Bears, Dick Buckus, 3rd overall, 1965. Dick Buckus set the standard for what middle linebackers should be before the position changed. Buckus was a 6-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, and NFL legend. He defined defensive football for an entire generation. His legacy changed how the position is coached today. Cincinnati Bengals, Anthony Munoz, 3rd overall in 1980. Anthony Munoz was the 3rd overall pick and became one of the greatest offensive linemen ever to play the game. He went to 2 Super Bowls with Cincinnati and was an 11-time Pro Bowler, 9-time All-Pro, and revolutionized the left tackle position with his dominance. Munoz is a Hall of Famer and the greatest Bengal of all time. Cleveland Browns, Jim Brown, 6th overall, 1957. Jim Brown is arguably the most dominant player in NFL history, selected 6th overall. In just 9 seasons, Brown won an NFL championship and appeared in 8 Pro Bowls, was a 6-time All-Pro, and rushed for over 12,000 yards while averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He never missed a game due to injury, and the Browns haven't recovered since. Dallas Cowboys, Troy Aikman, 1st overall, 1989. Troy Aikman was the quarterback who ended the Cowboys' drought and launched them into the 1990s dynasty. He won 3 Super Bowls, was a 6-time Pro Bowler, and threw for over 32,000 yards as a Cowboy, and revolutionized the quarterback position with his accuracy. His impact on the franchise is immeasurable. Denver Broncos, John Elway, 1st overall, 1983. The Duke was a generational talent who transformed Denver into a powerhouse immediately. Elway won 2 Super Bowls, was a 9-time Pro Bowler, threw for nearly 52,000 yards as a Bronco, and revolutionized the position with his athleticism. He's a Hall of Famer who defined an era of Denver football. Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders, 3rd overall, 1989. Barry Sanders is one of the most electrifying runners ever and the greatest Lion of all time. In 10 seasons, Sanders rushed for 15,269 yards, scored 109 touchdowns, and won the 1997 NFL MVP award. His brilliance and elusiveness transcended the mediocre teams around him. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 24th overall in 2005. Aaron Rodgers fell to the 24th overall pick due to work ethic concerns, but became one of the most talented quarterbacks ever. He won Super Bowl 45, was a 3-time NFL MVP, 10-time Pro Bowler, and has one of the most powerful arms in history. He's destined for the Hall of Fame. Houston Texans, J.J. Watt, 11th overall, 2011. J.J. Watt became the face of the Texans franchise from day one as the 11th overall pick. He was a 5-time All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and carried Houston to multiple playoff appearances. His dominance from 2011 to 2018 was unmatched and changed defensive line play. Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck, 1st overall, 2012. Andrew Luck was supposed to be the franchise quarterback for the next decade and instantly changed the Colts. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, was a 6-time Pro Bowler, and led the Colts to the AFC South repeatedly with incredible leadership. Though injuries shortened his prime, he accomplished more in 8 years than most do in their entire careers. Jacksonville Jaguars, Fred Taylor, 9th overall, 1998. Fred Taylor was the Jaguars' first major building block as a dual-threat running back selected 9th overall. Taylor rushed for over 11,000 yards as a Jaguar, was a 3-time Pro Bowler, and helped Jacksonville reach the AFC Championship game in just their second season, which is remarkable for an expansion franchise. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall, 2017. Patrick Mahomes has already cemented himself as one of the greatest draft picks in NFL history, despite sitting his first season, selected 10th overall. He's won 3 Super Bowls, is a 3-time NFL MVP, 6-time Pro Bowler, and 2-time Super Bowl MVP with an elite playing style. Mahomes is still in his prime with a chance to become the GOAT. Las Vegas Raiders, Marcus Allen, 1st round, 10th overall, 1982. Marcus Allen was a versatile running back who became one of the most dynamic players in Raiders history. He won 2 Super Bowls, was a 6-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro selection, and rushed for over 12,000 yards as a Raider while catching hundreds of passes. Allen is a Hall of Famer who changed how the running back position was played. Los Angeles Chargers, LaDainian Tomlinson, 5th overall, 2001. LaDainian Tomlinson was a scoring machine who revolutionized the running back position with his versatility, selected 5th overall. He rushed for over 10,000 yards, caught nearly 600 passes, and scored 161 touchdowns as a Charger. Tomlinson was a 6-time Pro Bowler, destined for the Hall of Fame. Los Angeles Rams, Aaron Donald, 13th overall, 2014. Aaron Donald might be the most dominant defensive player of the 2010s era and a generational talent, selected 13th overall. He won a Super Bowl, is a 7-time All-Pro, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and has changed games single-handedly. Donald is a future Hall of Famer and possibly the greatest defensive tackle ever. Miami Dolphins, Dan Marino, 27th overall, 1983. Dan Marino was one of the most prolific passers in NFL history. Drafted by Miami with the 27th pick in the 1st round, he threw for 61,361 yards and 420 touchdowns in a Dolphins uniform, was a 10-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, and the face of the franchise for 17 seasons. Minnesota Vikings, Randy Moss, 21st overall, 1998. Randy Moss was a generational talent who the Vikings got with the 21st overall pick, and the league totally underestimated him. Moss caught 91 passes his rookie season, won the NFL receiving yards title repeatedly, was a 4-time Pro Bowler, and had athleticism that was completely unparalleled. New England Patriots, Tom Brady, 6th round, 199th overall, 2000. This is the greatest draft pick bargain of all time. Tom Brady, picked 199th overall in the 6th round, became the GOAT and won 7 Super Bowls. He's a 15-time Pro Bowler, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, threw for over 89,000 yards, and played at an elite level for 23 seasons. New Orleans Saints, Willie Roaf, selected 8th overall in the 1993 NFL Draft. Willie Roaf was an offensive lineman who became one of the greatest left tackles in NFL history. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, and Hall of Famer who protected Saints quarterbacks throughout his career. Roaf set the standard for excellence at the tackle position. New York Giants, Lawrence Taylor, 2nd overall, 1981. Lawrence Taylor revolutionized the linebacker position and changed how the entire game was played defensively, selected 2nd overall. He won 2 Super Bowls, was named Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, and was a 10-time All-Pro. He is widely considered the greatest defensive player ever and an immortal franchise icon. New York Jets, Joe Namath, 1st overall, 1965. Broadway Joe was the flashiest quarterback of his era and led New York to the incredible Super Bowl III upset. Namath threw for over 27,000 yards as a Jet, won an NFL championship, and is a Hall of Famer who legitimized professional football in New York. Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White, 4th overall, 1984 supplemental draft. Reggie White was the most dominant defensive end of his generation and arguably the greatest defender in Eagles history. Selected 4th overall in the 1984 supplemental draft. He won a Super Bowl, was a 13-time Pro Bowler, 10-time All-Pro, and was named Defensive End of the Century. The Minister of Defense is arguably the greatest defensive player in NFL history. Pittsburgh Steelers, Troy Polamalu, 16th overall, 2003. Troy Polamalu transformed the Steelers secondary with his hard-hitting, ball-hawking style and incredible leadership. Selected 16th overall, he won a Super Bowl, was an 8-time Pro Bowler, and is destined for the Hall of Fame. Polamalu defined an era of Steelers defense. San Francisco 49ers, Joe Montana, 3rd round, 82nd overall, 1979. Joe Montana fell to the 3rd round, but became the greatest quarterback in franchise history and one of the greatest ever. He won 4 Super Bowls, was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, and threw for over 40,000 yards as a 49er. Montana is a Hall of Famer whose clutch performances defined excellence. Seattle Seahawks, Walter Jones, 6th overall, 1997. Walter Jones was selected 6th overall and became arguably the greatest offensive tackle ever to play the game. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, and a Hall of Famer who dominated the left side of Seattle's line for his entire career. Jones revolutionized the position with his combination of size, athleticism, and technique. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Derrick Brooks, 28th overall, 1995. Derrick Brooks was a linebacker who became the emotional leader of the Buccaneers defense. Selected 28th overall in 1995, he won Super Bowl 37, was a 5-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro selection, and Hall of Famer who defined leadership on the field. Brooks was the face of Tampa Bay's defense during their championship run. Tennessee Titans, Eddie George, 14th overall, 1996. Eddie George was the workhorse running back who built Tennessee's playoff foundation and became the face of the franchise, selected 14th overall. He rushed for over 10,000 yards as a Titan, was a 5-time Pro Bowler, and led the franchise to a Super Bowl 34 appearance as a Hall of Famer who also made the College Football Hall of Fame. Washington Commanders, Darrell Green, 28th overall, 1983. Darrell Green was one of the greatest cornerbacks in NFL history and a legendary Washington player for 2 decades, selected 28th overall and the final pick of the 1st round. He won 2 Super Bowls, was a 7-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, and played 20 consecutive seasons with unmatched consistency and excellence. So, which team do you think are the best pick on this list? Comment with your controversial take below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for more NFL content you won't find anywhere else.